Test. Can you hear me now? Test. Can you hear me now? Fuck. We got backbeat. Can you hear me now? Fuck. We got backbeat. All right, hang on. Got to remove this. Let's. Hang on. Got to remove this. Let's. Hang on. Is it sounding better? Can you hear anything now? Is it sounding better? Can you hear anything now? This is working out well. This is working out well. This is working out well. All right, can you hear? All right, can you hear? I'm getting a double shot still. I'm getting a double shot still. All right, hang on. Let me try something one more real quick. Mute here. I think this will. Let me try something one more real quick. Mute here. I think this will. All right, does it all sound well now? I think that might work. All right. Does it all sound well now? I think that might work. All right. How about now? Good? All right, good to go. All right, holy hell. All right, we're going to do some more driver updates after this. So that'll be great. All right, we're going to do some more driver updates. Okay, here we go. I think. There's still an echo. Okay, here we go. Holy hell. I think. There's still an echo. All right. Let's see. Let's see if you want to mute one of these. How about now? Did that help? It looks like maybe it worked. Type in the chat quick. All right, it's good now. All right, it's hard to do stressful stuff on the fly. Trying to get the mics to work as I know 4 people are watching. All right, here we go. All right, Gaussian channel, daily chart for Bitcoin. Right, so nice recovery. We're at 56K the other day. All right, here we go. We're now knocking on the door of the EMA 8 on the underside test. Now, why are we zoomed out here? Well, let's look at the kind of a mini fractal that we've looked at in our previous Bitcoin videos. How we have this chop, we make a new high and then a fake out up and then a fake out down. So we have this like little deviation here right at the bottom of the Gaussian channel, right? See all this chop? The only difference is we didn't get this like, brief higher high. This was, remember, this is the ETF news right here, right? And then, haha, surprise. And then this was the halving, right? A little bit of a rally too, but we didn't make a higher high, right? Should have gone up a little bit higher. So that's the main difference. But other than that, these are pretty similar in shape, right? A deviation down to the bottom of the Gaussian channel, sweep the lows, right? Here's the lows previously, right? And then we swept those, new lows. Here's the lows previously, break support, new lows, and now a recapture. Now, it's important the next several days on if this is going to play out similarly. If we are, back down at 58K or lower, come, a couple days from now, then, this starts to become, null and void. But we definitely have the signs of potential, rhyme to this move, right? And we could potentially go back up to new all-time highs in the next handful of weeks if this is the low. Okay, similar patterns so far. Now, what we want to watch for in the days ahead, right, is if we zoom in here, right, step 1, let's close above the EMA 8, right? That's step 1. Step 2, get above the Gaussian channel, median line. That's when we can start to turn more bullish by definition on the Gaussian, right? So we have our steps defined here. Step 1 is right here. Just close above 61.8 today. That would be fantastic. Step 2, really for the bigger bulls to show up, 65.6, right? So we're looking at that. And then if we do that, realize even if it takes some time, right? Go back to the last one. I mean, that still took a better part of a week to get up here. And then after that, it's not like we just take off, right? There's another handful of weeks, but guess what? We're holding the median line in the Gaussian channel as support. That's exactly what we're looking for the bulls to happen, right? And if that happens, right, we're still not out of the water yet. Out of the water, out of the woods, you pick. You pick the landscape, water or woods. Here's our resistance, right? We're starting to take out this high, 67K. If we clear 67K, the skies are clearing, and I would expect all-time highs in the not-so-distant future after that. Now realize that could take a couple of weeks. It may not happen at all. We could absolutely hold the EMA 8 here as resistance and nuke down tomorrow. I'm well aware of that. Just showing you the potentials for fractals from the last time to this time looking dangerously similar. So don't fade the bulls just yet, but they're right on the do or die moment. Okay, so we're at resistance on the daily chart, right? We're looking at the daily. I would kind of make it kind of right where we are, right? Swing lows, break it, should be resistance. But if the bulls are not done, and this is in fact the low, we could catapult here, right? Over the next couple of weeks, maybe through the end. It might take to the end of May, right? Fractal in nature, right? Patterns tend to be fractal. So we're going to keep with that just in case. If we reject and say Monday or a weekly close, we're back in the 50s or lower, right? Maybe, mid 50s, just exit that, right? Forget all that. And downtrend remains intact. Then we have to look at the bear side. You always want to look at both sides of the coin here, right? Lower highs, lower lows. By definition, the daily chart is in a downtrend. Okay? That's the daily chart. The shorter time frame, we can zoom in here a little bit. We're trying to make some moves higher, but still a little bit cautious here, right? We're still bearish on the Gaussian channel red, right? We're still red here. We're still in a downtrend even on the 4-hour. The only chart that has a brighter future is, the weekly chart and the 1-hour chart. So the 1 week and the 1 hour. So we'll get to the weekly in just a moment, and then we'll get to your requests, I promise. But the Gaussian channel on the 1 hour has turned green, price action above it, and price actions above all moving averages. However, we're still at that key kind of flip level here, right? See these previous lows breaking down, now new resistance. So even on the 1 hour chart, 62K, kind of a big level here, right? And you could even drag this zone back, make it a little bit bigger, right? I mean, we have a lot of work to do. So the ball is rolling, but small time small time frame, right? If we zoom way the hell out, let's go like way out to the weekly here, right? All looks still great here. Bullish throwback retest to the 21-week EMA, right? Great sign. Look at that. 21-week EMA will be tested time and time again this entire bull run. And no, I do not think the bull run is over, like some accounts are calling for. There's no reason to think that. And obviously, we're going to close below the 21-week before that would end, right? So we have our signs. Until you close below the 21-week, you can't even mention bearish on a weekly time chart. This is bullish. Go back to any previous bull run for Bitcoin. It's testing. I mean, this last one was huge, but it's testing the weekly EMA 8 and the 21 before it makes the bigger moves. So I go back to the pandemic here, right? Look how bullish we got here. Close below the EMA 8, the 14, test the 21 week, the yellow line, 1 week, 2 week, 3 out of the 4 weeks. Like we're hitting that, right? Before we go into our new phase, our parabolic phase. Potentially, it could be, knocking on the door of that, right? So don't fade it just yet. We have to close under the 21 week before we can even talk about bearish, okay? So, I mean, look at the candle now. I mean, imagine we close like this. Even though it's red, right? We can take the Gaussian channel off because it kind of throws everything off. Everybody's like, why does it look different? All right, there you go. All right, so we're working on our 5th red week, but look at this long lower wick. If we close anywhere just even above 60,700, this EMA 14, right? We tested it 2 weeks ago. If we close above that, I would put this in a more bullish category than bearish, even though the candle would be red. So it'd be, we'll have to see how it shapes up, right? Imagine it closes green. If the most bullish scenario and would be an actual, probably true bear trap is if we close above 63.5 above the EMA 8. So as of right now, 63.6 as of right now. That'll change a little bit between now and the close, depending on where price goes. But if it closes above 63.6, that EMA 8, and that closes green, there'd be like a dragonfly doji on the weekly after testing the EMA 21. High probability of higher highs, and not only that, but all-time highs in the weeks ahead. So we'll keep an eye on that going into the weekly close 2.5 days from now. All right, so that's the important things to be watching for Bitcoin for the next several days going into the weekly close. Big stuff. All right, let's see what disasters going on in the chat. All right, we got the microphone working a little bit. I'm sure it still sounds a little weird. Okay, so higher highs before the spot ETF, lower highs after the halving. Seems like the bulls are weaker now. I would agree, for sure. And the signs are there. You can kind of almost argue valid points for the bears and bulls based on, here's the ETF news, right? Or let's go back to the daily chart, right? Make it more clear, right? So here, we'll get to requests after this, I promise. Here is your halving event, and let's just make this clear. Here is our perfectly drawn semicircle. Here is the ETF news release here, right? See the difference? The chop and then a brief higher high and send it to new lows, fake out, then chop again, but we didn't make the new higher high, right? We made a lower high consecutive, right? This is almost double top feeling here. And now we're back down lower, right? Below, we're flirting with the 100 EMA, similar vibes, but yeah, I would certainly argue that this time was a little bit more bullish, a little bit more bearish because we didn't make that higher high. So that's again why cautiously optimistic here with this swing lows being in and a similar fractal of nature. But yeah, time will tell. Let's look at the Bollinger Bands just real quick. So what I also like about this move being a potential low is these double closes outside the bands. Usually that's a good sign of a reversal, of a potential reversal, we should say. If you get like something like this, it's like hit or miss, right? It doesn't even go outside the bands. Even these, look at how many candles, but these like kind of back to back lower wicks, not quite tweezer bottom, but that's pretty good. It certainly has the makings of a potential low, right? We don't know yet, but it's like, I would take this over anything else I see, right? So we'll see if the bulls got it in them to kind of get us back up. The bulls really start to pick up pace here if we get back above all these moving averages. So like 64K right at the weekly close, right? We just talked about that too, is also gets you back above the EMA 8. 64K come Sunday. If that happens, I'm seriously leaning huge bullish momentum to the upside here, because that would close also a Dragonfly Doji candle on the weekly, and it would get us back above all moving averages on the daily. There'd be big things happening if we could somehow manage to close above 64K. It's only 2K away. Of course, it's possible. It's also very highly possible that we come down and close at 54K, right? That could happen, right? So we got to wait for the candle close. All right, so looking at history, especially post-halving, when do you think we can see an alt season? Good question. So my, portfolio's down a little bit. I get it. No harm, no foul. Now, all halvings have experienced, at least the three that we've had, right, that we've seen, been tracking. All halvings prior have seen chop for the days and even weeks before and after. So keep that in mind. This is typical, right, to see chop after the halving. Here's our halving, right? We can go to the weekly, right? There's our halving week. We can remove this one. The yellow is the halving, right? Let's make this a little bit bigger so you don't have to use your monocle like the Monopoly guy. So here's the halving. It's typical for weeks of chop afterwards. Up and down, up and down, up and down for weeks. So you're going to have to be patient. Alt season, when does alt season come? It's very easy. You don't have to wonder. You could just go to Bitcoin dominance. This is exactly when alt season will happen. It's when we get a giant red candle, something like this, right? This is alt season right here. That's alt season. Go look at any alt during June of 2022, and they were doing, well, you're in a bear market here, but I promise they were doing better than they were here, right? Look at what we've been doing. Altcoins have been going pretty well for the past couple of year and a half, right, since we've been in this bull run, and Bitcoin dominance has been going up. This is also an argument that the cycle is nowhere near over, right? Bitcoin dominance usually will top in the summertime. Typically, Junes are pretty good, right? Look, here's June last time. Let's go look at June the time before that. Let's go look at June the time before that. Typically, June, July, Bitcoin dominance tends to put in a local, if not permanent high for the remainder of the year. And that's when usually altcoins can come out to play a little bit. We have to get a devil candle, for lack of a better word. We need this downtrends. Or, I mean, I don't think we'll ever see this again, like ever. Right? I don't think dominance will ever fall like this. This was different times. But, I mean, that was a true alt season. Right? I don't think Bitcoin dominance will ever go. Let's just take a measured move here for spectacular. All right, so in 140 days, so inside of what, 5 months, down 46% on dominance. Yeah, I don't think that's ever going to happen again. But this is when alt season will happen. So are we in dangerously close to getting an alt season? I don't think so. I think we're probably still a couple months away based on this. But I mean, we have to look at history. Like since 2021, June, July is usually toppy-feely, right? We're not there yet. I think dominance has got one more run in it to the high side. So we could theoretically see some kind of top still in, June, July, and somewhere in that circle, I would guess. Based on this chart, you're like, well, why would we have to go up? Look at the goddamn pin it. Look at this pattern right here. This right here. Since August of 2023, higher lows at the same time, right? I mean, this is absolute bullish pattern. And the fact that it's on a weekly and took months to play out, and it's just now breaking out. It's now doing a bullish retest, also called a throwback. This has extremely high probability of going higher. So everyone calling for Bitcoin dominance to roll and the top is in. What are you looking at? What chart are you looking at? There's no way anybody with any kind of TA background can look at this pattern and say that that is a top with certainty, right? Obviously, it could be. Anything's possible. But the fact that this just broke out and is now doing a throwback and holding, right? Didn't like crash back through. Now, if it crashes through, like we're looking for a break of the 21 week, just like anything else. But, Bitcoin dominance, I don't think you really need to even use moving averages. Like support, resistance, patterns, and Bollinger Bands. That's great, right? So to make it clear, alt season happens after a downtrend. We've done nothing but go up in this entire bull run. And think of how strong some altcoins have done. Like Fetch was at 20 cents. It went to $3. And it did majority of that since last October. As the same time Bitcoin dominance was doing this. How well do you think some of those coins are going to do if we see a catastrophe out of Bitcoin dominance? If this happens again, we're going to see, 10x's in potentially a handful of weeks if we get that scenario. So be patient. You'll be rewarded very likely if we get something like that. So hopefully that's exciting, right? But I still think you're going to have some more patience here. Because if Bitcoin dominance is going higher, it's going to get worse before it gets better. But something like this, right, going into the late part of this year, perhaps I'll just keep drawing arrows. Hopefully that makes it a little bit more clear on when I think alt season is. And yes, I still think this market cycle will peak in a year from now, right? I think we're about halfway through, and that's usually about typical with this dominance as well. Right? Altcoin season hasn't even started yet. And we can back that up for, let me just go off on a little more tangent here on more of alts, right? We can go to the total altcoin market cap. Like it hasn't even gone halfway up the damn mountain yet. You think altcoins aren't going to reach their halfway up their prior highs? Like we got over $1 trillion last time. We haven't even, got to 3/4 here. Right? So we have plenty of time. I mean, look at this mountain. I would argue we're like in this area, right? Not saying we have to repeat exactly, But here's just the breakout. And speaking of these breakouts, like, you can use support and resistance. If you could just nail that down, you'd be a much better trader. Right, here's the breakout, throwback, bullish retest. This remind you of anything? We just looked at Bitcoin dominance. The breakout, throwback, and then move higher. Right, hold the medium Bollinger Band. That's what you're going to do in a bullish trend. And, you know, you're just going to remain bullish. Now, this looks like we're going to consolidate here for the next several weeks to maybe months, which is also rhyming with our Bitcoin dominance theory that it's going to move higher. Altcoins kind of chop, maybe go down a little bit more, and then, you know, and then we go later this year for altcoin season, right? This is likely the scenario. So yeah, you're going to have more patience in altcoins. The worst thing you can do, in my opinion, right? This is my opinion, not financial advice, is overtrade during these times. Usually you just want to sit on your hands or buy more, dollar cost average. In a bull run, just DCA on a weekly basis, a monthly basis, whatever you can do. And not much else. If you're trying to swing in and out of trades, you can really mess it up. Maybe you've experienced this, right? Speaking from experience. All right. What else we got? All right. We're off on tangents now. Also, all right. I see. Oh, we got some old faces here. Juiced, welcome in. I just saw you here. Hopefully you're still here. We got 47. Well, we got 18 people here. All right. No big deal. I thought 47. I got excited. Just kidding. All right. So I see a comment here. People saying the bull run is over, so everyone is selling. They can pick crypto up at lower prices. Great. How well has that always worked out? Also, keep in mind, when you watch YouTube videos on analysts or the news, you think all those are there to help you? Or to maybe fit their narrative or someone else's narrative, or they're getting paid to say that, or, you know, that's their job, the news, or the crypto analysts, it wants to buy your bags cheaper, right? I mean, not everything is made to help you or inform you even, right? Sometimes it's meant to sway you one way or another, right? Just keep that in mind. Yeah, okay, we'll get to requests now, since I got to wrap it up here in 15 minutes or so. We'll do more live streams. Maybe we'll start doing live streams every other day or something like that. I feel like I can help a lot more people this way. Let's get to Fetch. That was the first request I saw. Holy shit, where is it? Here we go. So alt's up a little bit today, but, you know, typical rising tides lifts all ships. So that's why, you know, Bitcoin goes up, and this is going to happen. So, all right, here we go. So let's look at Fetch here. We're on the weekly chart. Let's put on the Gaussian channel, see how that looks. It'll come up at some point. All right, so Gaussian channel is going to make an appearance maybe. Either way, we've closed under the EMA 8. When you do that on a weekly basis, likely multiple closes. Right now we have 1 week, 2 weeks, working on our third week close. It just means consolidation. In a bull run, right, you always have to have context where the hell you are in a bull run. So likely, like we just talked about in the altcoin market cap, we're just going to get some chop here. Whether or not if we go up, I would expect still a lower high because of these multiple weekly closes under here. So if we rally up, we could see $3 again. Yeah, perhaps. But a lot of altcoins will likely put in lower highs until Bitcoin dominance finishes whatever the hell it's going to do. Right? I still think Bitcoin dominance is going higher, 58, 60%, something in that area. If that happens and we start to move down, then the stronger coins, Fetch is one of the strongest coins in this whole cycle so far. As far as market being a higher market cap, I'm well aware meme coins can outperform anything for the fleeting moment. But Fetch is doing absolutely great, right? You could have bought Fetch at 20 cents. Let's get out of these Bollinger Bands and skew this here. So if you're ever wondering why the hell your chart skews, right, you got to come down here and hit auto and log and mess around with that. And Bollinger Bands can skew that. Some other indicators can do that as well. So there you go. So here, look at this. So October lows, 20 cents Fetch, right? And we were looking at this in our group, like during this time, right? Fetch was definitely on our radar back then. 1,500%, not too bad. So we're still great, right? Look at this last move. Similar vibes, down to the 21 week, right? Consolidate. This will probably be a little bit longer, right? We're in a little bit different times right now. Like I said, we're waiting on Bitcoin dominance to top. but looking good. Just patience here, right? If it performed well, and up 1,500% is, I would say, performing well. Back here, right? It's gonna continue to perform well in the next phase. Okay, how high could Fetch go? We've made some videos on that. You can do the 1618, right? You can just go fib extension here from our previous swing highs to lows. You can look at it. So 830 is a good starting spot. Doesn't mean that has to be the top, but maybe starting to have everything in context when you get up there. If you bought it at 20 cents, I mean, you're up a good bit. Let's see, that's just a subtle 4,300% from 20 cents. So that's pretty good, right? People that got in $3 are like, really? That's it? Yeah, probably in this area. Could it go to 10? Yeah, sure. Maybe a little bit higher, but keep in mind, Fetch, Ajax, and Ocean are also going to be rolled together as one coin. And I think a couple of days here, maybe the end of this week. Someone might know that answer in the chat. So keep that in mind, that'll be a different animal. So I don't know what's going to be made of, no, I don't, it's kind of relatively uncharted territory from my experience. I've never heard of 3 coins joining forces like that, but we'll see how that goes. All right. Can't find my damn straw ever. All right. Jasmine, next request. Throat clearing. All right, let's get to it. Oh, I also want to do one more note that I think will help you. I'm going to do that after this because if you don't know about it, it's going to be mind blowing. And it's going to, as much as I hate the phrase game changer, this will be a game changer for your charts here in comparing your altcoins. It's going to be great. So stick around for that. Just a few more minutes if you got some time. Okay, Jasmine, weekly. What are we looking like? It looks fine, right? These big moves, right? Again, keep track of coins that are doing well, right? 800% from the October lows. How much are you up from October lows? Most coins started their run right after that, right? So 800%, great. You want your coins above the majority of moving averages, certainly above the 21 week. If it's not, does that mean it's over and it's a shit coin? Well, not necessarily, but it does mean the odds are up higher if you're below this yellow line, the 21 week. If you're below that, your coin is likely going to get stuck in the mud, so to speak. So it's going to be slower to move in the next phase. So you want to kind of switch your horses up now. Do some research. And how do we do that? Well, that's what my next point is. I'm going to show you how to do that very easily, comparing coins. So Jasmine gets my seal of approval here. I like it, right? Above the 21 week. Really, high and tight, kind of, if you put it on closing prices. Not quite a bull flag, but, flag-ish, right? You kind of like your flags a little bit more drawn down, right? Not, people confuse these all the time or think that's a bull flag. No, that's not a textbook bull flag. Bull flags are much more tight and downwards moving like that. See that? And they have a defined channel. Whereas if people say oh, is this a pennant? Well, no, that's more of a descending triangle, and that's probably going to break down. So be careful on, just loosely following anybody that says flags or whatever. But it's similar, but it's gonna trend follow whatever the other altcoins are doing. But I do like, right, just a quick check. Is your coin above the 21 week or below the 21 week? Does it respect these big moving averages, or is it, look at back here, right? What did it do before? If it held the 21 week before and then launched, and it's holding the 21 week now, it could launch again, right? That's, typical great little quick check. But let me get to what I was going to show you in case I ran out of time here. Let's put it on, just a plain Bitcoin chart, right? And this is what you want to do to compare your altcoins, right? So keep this in mind, right? Let's take off everything. We don't want to see anything, right? So we're on a plain chart and put it on a line chart. So we have just that, right? What is your top altcoins? So we have, let's just do the ones we've just talked about. So how you do this, Bitcoin line chart, everyone's on board here. All right, now go up top here. See this little plus sign? Okay, go there, click that, and let's say fetch, right? You just click it, right? And then what else? We just added Jasmine, right? Let's do that. right? You're gonna, if you know what I'm doing, this is great. If you don't, this is gonna blow your mind, right? And let's add, how about some Matic? How about Solana? We'll do some render, right? You see what's gonna happen here? Look at this. This is awesome. So you can go like October, right? October, like we can go like where they all start from. Let's even start in the bear market here. So get all the starting points the same. Look at this. You can compare instantly how well each coin is doing against Bitcoin or each other. You don't have to use Bitcoin. I just think that's a good base, right? If your coin's below that, might want to get out of it. So look at this. And how do you know which one's which? Well, they're color coded here, right? Hopefully you can read a graph chart. Otherwise, go back to 4th grade. But so Bitcoin is up 172%. And you're like, if you scroll in and out, like, why the hell is this changing? It's different starting points. So you also want to have in mind, you don't want like a newer coin that started like 3 months ago in this chart, right? They all have to have the same starting point. And you can change the starting point by simply zooming in and out. So we're starting this in like the bull run, right? January 2023. Right? Bitcoin up 272% so far. You can see this right here. There's Bitcoin. Every other coin has been a pretty good investment except Matic. Matic is down 3% from the start of the bull run. Holy hell. Probably not going to make it this cycle, right? How is yours? So we'll just eliminate that shit. Now what? Everything else is above Bitcoin. Jasmy, not that much above, but still okay, right? It made its cross, but Jasmine was definitely lagging behind up through February of this year, right? You can see that. So if we remove that, look how much better these altcoins are doing. So compare your altcoins to Bitcoin and to other altcoins. It was pretty easy, right? You just click that plus button and you can instantly tell, right? Now, some of you might not like what you see, but compare your coins, right? Easy way to do it. If you want to start off with your best performer, that's fine too. You can do this with anything. I just recommend having Bitcoin on there so you can see how much better or worse you're doing than the king, right? If you're not doing better than Bitcoin, what the hell are you doing holding that coin? You should be outperforming Bitcoin, certainly from the start of the bull run, or you should just be holding Bitcoin. That's the safest play. All right. Hopefully that made some sense. All right, so I got a few more minutes. Let's get to some more. All right, let's get out of that. Go over to just kidding. I just gotta remove all these, and it's easy to do. So you don't have to worry about it. It's not a huge setup, right? Just flick that, and you're right back at it. Back to moving averages. Back to normal. All right, we'll do HBAR next. Bitcoin water, of course. Let's get to HBAR. It's down on the list somewhere, but it'll spend too much time to try to find it. I might as well just do it on... If you got a specific exchange you want me to look at, you got to let me know. Let's see what else. Just do that one. All right, going out to the weekly. It's goddamn. What the hell happened last week? I'm guessing that was some kind of a news event. What is that spike? Look at that spike. Now, here's our resistance. So last time we talked about HBAR, right? I mean, it's just, whoops. Textbook break of previous resistance, breakthrough, throwback, right? This is exactly what we looked at on Bitcoin dominance, right? Bitcoin dominance is like right here. Why do you not think this is going to break higher for Bitcoin dominance? This looks great as well. And this is better than, this chart is looking better than most altcoins. In fact, maybe every altcoin at this point. It's above all moving averages. It just did a Superman stunt last week for some reason. Maybe you guys know the reason for that. I do not know. But here's our fib extension here as well. Got probably some choppiness up around the 20-cent mark. Once we get up there, right, that will probably act as some kind of hesitation. But hey, that's 2x away. And the 1618 for Jasmine is at 53 cents. So that might be exciting to some people, right? That's another 400% move, roughly, up to that point. Is that the high? Not really. Let's go look at this. And you can check these as well by going to, go to your swing lows, the lowest possible price. Right, and then go to these numbers, because you want to make sure they're not over 20,000%. Now, this is only 2,000%. So could it get up there? Sure. 2,000%, not that much. 20,000% is like usually about the best altcoins do for the big market caps. Like Matic last run, Matic did 23,000 or something like that. If people are calling for prices, go check them from the lows. It's real easy to do. You can see if they're full of shit or not. Or you can do the calculation on CoinMarketCap. Just go do the rough calculations on market cap, divide it by the price. And if it's, $300 trillion, probably not going to work out, right? Like XRP going to $300 or something. Right. Good job. Good luck with that. Market cap's terrible, right? Easy to weed out, possibilities there. Hopefully that helps. All right. What else? I got a couple minutes here. I got to go get my daughter. So let me read through here. Yeah, if you hold Chainlink, you definitely got some patience. But it's still looking better than a lot of altcoins. Okay, I got a lot of requests. I don't have time to do it. My two favorites for the requests are Render and Synapse, so we're gonna do that because George is also a member of our Telegram group, so we're gonna go check that out. If you want to do that, right, join our Telegram group. We do tons of updates every day. We keep you on top of everything. So, all right, Render. Again, tap on the weekly 21, 21, 21. 3 out of the 4 weeks, holding strong. Render can move big time when it wants to. And again, right, remember Render, compare Render to Injective, to Ocean, to Ajax. These guys are big movers and against Bitcoin. Render is one of the top movers against Bitcoin, right? You want to also check your coins against Bitcoin. So where's Render BTC? Look at this. You can't name 5 coins that have a better looking chart against Bitcoin than that. And if you can name them, it's these ones in teal. Fetch is, I think, the strongest one against Bitcoin. Injective was the strongest, not doing well so far over the past couple of months. But Solana, Render, look at these charts. Do you want to even go look at Matic? That's what I'm talking about. If your chart looks like that, you're in trouble. Just hold Bitcoin. Get out of that and hold Bitcoin. Fetch, opposite, right? You want to be holding coins that outperform Bitcoin. That's a solid test. All right. Render and Synapse was right here. Right, there we go. Synapse still chopping around on the weekly. It does move well. I think this will do well in the grand scheme of things. I do have some Render here. $7. That's still over a 7x away, right? Doing the maths, doing the elementary maths. But the bigger moves don't start for Synapse until we're above $2, right? You can see the resistance. Even with these high wicks, down below the 236, but we're battling right now in the 21 week. Here's our low zone. Right, previous resistance, breakout, throwback, retest, low wick, just hit it. You got a chance to buy Synapse under 80 cents. You had to be quick. Now we're back up to 93 cents. Anything under $1 here is pretty great, right? That's previous consolidation, just around the 80 cent mark. If you could somehow have averaged under 80 cents for this, it's essentially no risk to me. In the long grand scheme of things, this looks. I think that the core values here are great. The fundamentals are there. And, I think it's pretty undervalued here. So just my opinion on this. As far as the chart goes, it does look like it's struggling to get going. But once it does, I think it can really start up. So just throwing that out for Synapse. Structurally, it looks okay. But also, it's like, when is it going to kick? I think a lot of these coins that are still struggling, but still looking good on the charts, will take off big time in Altseason. And when do we know Altseason is? Bitcoin dominance must roll over. And we're just not there yet. All right. So I did my best as fast as I could to get as much information as possible to you. We're going to do a bunch more of these. I promise we'll do more requests. I like to keep these at least an hour, if not more, so I can get all your requests in. But I really got to go. So I'll make note. We can do another one of these maybe this weekend. If not, then maybe we'll do on Monday. Appreciate y'all tuning in if you have. Thanks so much for joining. I'll see you on the next one. Have a great weekend.